Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 things that are super important for your nutrition. The first one's going to be glycemic index. The second one's going to be blood sugar, and it's going to be closely related and maybe even just right under there with glycemic index. But then the third one is going to be pre and post workout nutrition. These 3 things are going to be key to you getting optimal results when you're coming in and you're training with us to get those new PRs. So first, let's talk about glycemic index. Essentially, these are going to be some big words that generally people are scared of, but what it is just a rating scale of 0 to 100, and what it means is when you're closer to 0, then the food has less of an impact on your blood sugar levels. When you're closer to 100, then the food has a more significant impact on your blood sugar levels. So when you take in a food that's on the lower end of the scale, one of the low glycemic index foods, then what's going to happen is it's going to be a more sustained amount of energy. You can kind of ride it out for a long period of time. Somewhere along the middle is going to be a little bit more, you kind of get this elevated spike, but it's not going to be crazy in blood sugar, and then it kind of rides out slowly. What happens with the high glycemic index foods, the ones that we really want to be careful of, is you get this quick spike and then this quick drop off. And because of that drop off, you're going to immediately feel like you need to recharge, like you need to go and grab another donut or another can of soda or another bag of Skittles, whatever it is that you crave when you get hungry for those sweets, for that junk food. And that brings me to another point. So a couple of examples of these types of food. The low glycemic would be if you had like bran cereal or brown rice. These are going to be super low on the glycemic index scale. Some along the middle are going to be maybe potatoes or a whole wheat bread, and something way up high is going to be something more like candy or soda or whatever it is, again, that you crave when you're craving those sweets. And so we can talk about, feel free, email us at info@frictioncrossfit.com, and we can talk a lot more about what these different foods are. We can give you examples, we can give you charts, we can provide you with all that stuff. But right now, I just kind of want to gloss over the introduction to glycemic index. Now, again, what happens when we get these high spikes in blood sugar is even worse. It's unsafe for us to be at the top, at the peak or the zenith of that blood sugar level. So immediately our body's going to produce insulin in order to bring it back down to a safe level. Now, this isn't a big deal, right? We're built to be very resilient. Our bodies are built to hold homeostasis, right? Exactly where we are, the status quo. So the fact that we can produce insulin to bring those blood sugar levels down, is great. The problem is if we're forcing our body to do that over and over again, breakfast, lunch, dinner, every time we have a snack and every time we watch TV at night for X amount of years on end, what happens is we start to become insulin resistant, and this is where we can lead ourselves all the way into the extreme, which would be diabetes. And this is something that we definitely don't want. So you need to be conscious of these foods that you're putting into your body, and you want to make sure that you're on the lower end of the scale, because this is going to be what gives you the sustained energy. Now this brings us to the next point. This is huge for pre and post workout nutrition, because we want to make sure that we have energy. So you're definitely not going to want to go and slam a Mountain Dew and eat a bag of Skittles so that your blood sugar spikes, and then come in here and try and run yourself ragged during a workout, because as soon as you go down, you're going to be done. You're going to be in a bad mood, you're going to barely be able to move, you'll probably be sick to your stomach, and it's all going to be because you came straight down off of that peak of blood sugar. However, if you had some good food, maybe something on the lower end of the scale that gave you that nice sustained energy, then it's going to get you through that workout, exactly what you need to do. So let's be a little bit more specific. Now that you understand a little bit about what's going on with the glycemic index, let's be a little bit more specific about pre and post workout nutrition. So in order to do that, I'd like to take a step back and at this point just kind of talk about the way that our bodies work at a more elementary level. So lots of times I'll have people come in and they'll ask me questions about nutrition, and I can just tell that they've got this notion in their mind that the body is like maybe a snowman, right? Where if we're a guy that wants to be really big and jacked, then all we need to do is just go and gather a bunch of snow or calories and just pack all that on, and then we'll just be big, right? Or you've got a lady maybe that just thinks, no, like, keep all of these calories, keep all this snow away, and then I'll just be like a thin and petite, toned snowman. Unfortunately, our bodies are just more complex than that, right? So next we'll see people that are graduated into a little bit more of a mature understanding of the body. Maybe it's like a car, right? So you've got this gas tank, and the food would be the gas that you put in the gas tank. And so if you eat a certain amount of food, then that's your energy that you can expend to travel somewhere, and then maybe whatever's left over in the gas tank gets turned into fat, right? Unfortunately, our bodies are even more complex than cars. You've got to think of your body as such a complex machine that there's going to be actually more factors in the equation. So I actually like to think about it as you've got your body, but you've also got metabolism. And if we think about those two as different things, then we can understand that what you actually need to do is be able to fuel yourself. So you've got to take in enough energy to be able to go and do your workout, which you might think of as going out and gathering wood to put on a fire, which is your metabolism, right? Because if you're able to do a really hard workout, that's going to spark your metabolism, and you're actually going to burn more calories after. Whereas if you don't eat anything and you're not able to have a good workout because you're sluggish, because you don't have the energy to actually get through, then the problem is you're not going to have, if you think about that same metaphor, you're not going to have the energy to go out and gather the wood that you need to throw on that fire to really spark that metabolism. So you'll see people that want to be thin so they don't eat a lot before their workout, and then they try to come in and perform, and unfortunately they just have a really bad workout that doesn't spark their metabolism, and then they're not burning as many calories after. Whereas if you have somebody else that does eat the right amount before they come in and work out, then they have a great workout. It sparks their metabolism, brings them up to a new level, and for the rest of the day they're burning calories, probably more than they would have otherwise. So it's a little bit counterintuitive that sometimes you've actually got to eat a little bit more, provided that it's the right foods, in order to have the energy to spark that metabolism to burn more. So overall, you'll be in better shape if you're able to stay more consistent. Now again, we want to bring back in the glycemic index, and we want to think about which foods we're using to sustain that energy through the workout. So we can go out, gather that wood, throw it on the fire, and have that raging, blazing inferno of metabolism, which CrossFit's definitely going to give you. So again, this is all just introductory, but please email us, info@frictioncrossfit.com. Start the conversation. Let's talk about this more. I get excited about this stuff, so I'd love to hear from you. Last but not least, just a couple of specifics. Pre-workout, what you can think about is maybe having somewhere between 40 and 60 grams of carbohydrates. Actually was recommended in a recent article on the Box magazine. 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates a couple of hours before the workout, and again, you want those low glycemic index carbohydrates in order to really sustain you all the way through. And then also somewhere between 15 and 30 grams of protein in order to sustain amino acid levels that'll help with muscle and protein synthesis overall. And then again, after the workout, you want somewhere around those same numbers in order to refuel your body. So you can think about those, email us with specific questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Frick Nation.